The ultimatum. The morning sky over Geneva had been crystal clear until the shadows fell. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching as massive shapes materialized through the clouds. The alien ships were enormous, each one larger than 3 city blocks, their hulls gleaming with an unsettling purple light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. "Commander Chen, urgent message from NORAD." Lieutenant Torres called from behind her. "They're registering over 400 contacts worldwide. Every major population center has at least 5 ships positioned overhead." Sarah turned away from the terrifying sight, her military training kicking in despite the impossibility of what she was witnessing. At 35, she had spent her entire adult life preparing for threats to Earth, but nothing in her experience had prepared her for this moment. The ships hung in the sky like storm clouds made of metal and menace. "Get me President Morrison on the secure line," she ordered, walking briskly toward the command center. "And contact every defense installation on the planet. I want a full status report in 10 minutes." The command center buzzed with activity as technicians and officers worked frantically at their stations. The main display showed a global map dotted with red markers representing the alien vessels. Sarah felt her stomach tighten as she realized the scope of what humanity was facing. President Morrison's face appeared on the main screen, his expression grave. Behind him, Sarah could see the chaos of the White House Situation Room. "Commander Chen, what's our assessment?" "Sir, we're looking at a coordinated global presence. The ships are maintaining position approximately 2,000 feet above ground level. No hostile action yet, but their positioning suggests they could level every major city simultaneously if they chose to." Dr. Marcus Rivera, the world's leading xenobiologist, rushed into the command center carrying a tablet filled with preliminary sensor data. His usually neat appearance was disheveled, and his eyes held a mixture of excitement and terror that Sarah had never seen before. "Commander, you need to see this," Marcus said breathlessly. "The energy signatures from these ships match theoretical models we've only dreamed about. They're using some form of exotic matter propulsion that shouldn't be possible with known physics." Before Sarah could respond, every screen in the command center flickered and it went dark. When the displays came back online, they showed the same image. A tall, imposing figure in elaborate armor that seemed to shift and change color like oil on water. The being's face was humanoid but elongated, with silver eyes that held no warmth. "Inhabitants of the planet you call Earth," the figure spoke, its voice carrying through every communication system on the planet simultaneously. "I am Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been marked for integration into our domain." Sarah felt the blood drain from her face as the alien continued. "You have 72 of your hours to surrender unconditionally. Disarm your military forces. Prepare your population for relocation to designated zones. Resist, and your species will face extinction. You have been warned." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Sarah looked around at her team, seeing her own shock reflected in their faces. Captain Jake Thompson, her best starfighter pilot, stepped forward from where he had been monitoring the fleet positions. "Commander, our best missiles couldn't scratch the paint on those things," Jake said quietly. "I've been running combat simulations for the past hour. We're not talking about a fight here. We're talking about slaughter." President Morrison's voice crackled through the speakers. "Commander Chen, I need options. The UN Security Council is convening an emergency session, but I need to know what we're working with." Sarah looked at the global display again, her mind racing through scenarios. "Sir, from a purely military standpoint, we have no conventional options. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, but perhaps we can buy time through negotiation." "Negotiation." Dr. Rivera looked up from his tablet. "Commander, there's something else. I've been monitoring energy readings across the planet, and something strange is happening. Ancient archaeological sites are showing unusual activity." Sarah frowned. "What kind of activity?" Marcus pulled up data on his tablet, his fingers flying across the screen. Stonehenge, the pyramids of Giza, Machu Picchu, Easter Island, dozens of other sites. They're all emitting low-level energy signatures that weren't there yesterday. It's almost like the arrival of these ships triggered something. Captain Thompson moved to the sensor station. Could it be some kind of weapon system? Maybe the ancients left us something. I don't know, Marcus admitted. But the timing can't be coincidental. The moment these Zephyrian ships appeared, sites across the planet that have puzzled archaeologists for centuries suddenly became active. Sarah made a decision. Jake, I want you to personally check out the nearest site. Take a full sensor suite and report back immediately. Marcus, coordinate with archaeological teams worldwide. If there's something hidden in these ancient places, we need to find it. As her team dispersed to their tasks, Sarah stared at the alien ships on the display. Somewhere in the back of her mind, a memory stirred. Her grandmother had told her stories when she was young, tales passed down through generations about visitors from the stars who had once helped humanity in its darkest hour. Sarah had always assumed they were just stories, but now she wondered if there might be more truth to them than anyone had realized. Hours passed as reports flowed in from around the world. The Zephyrian ships maintained their positions, silent and menacing. Governments struggled to maintain order as panic spread through major cities. Some countries attempted to negotiate directly with the aliens, but their transmissions were ignored. Captain Thompson's voice crackled through the radio from Stonehenge. Commander, you're not going to believe this. The stones are glowing. I mean actually glowing with this blue-white light. And there's something else. The ground around the monument is vibrating, like there's machinery underneath. Any signs of what might be causing it? Sarah asked. Negative, but I'm reading massive energy buildup. Whatever's down there, it's been dormant for a very long time. And now it's waking up. Similar reports came in from archaeological sites around the world. The Easter Island statues were humming with harmonic frequencies. The pyramids were emanating a soft golden glow visible from space. Ancient temples in Cambodia were showing electromagnetic anomalies that defied explanation. Dr. Rivera worked tirelessly to correlate the data, his excitement growing with each new report. Commander, I think I'm seeing a pattern. These sites aren't random. They're positioned at specific points around the globe, almost like they form some kind of network. A network for what? Sarah asked. I'm not sure yet, but if my calculations are correct, they're all connected somehow. It's like they're components of a massive planetary system that's been dormant for thousands of years. As the first day of the ultimatum drew to a close, Sarah found herself back on the observation deck, staring up at the alien ships. The Zephyrian vessels cast long shadows over the city below, a constant reminder of the sword hanging over humanity's head. President Morrison had addressed the world, calling for calm and unity in the face of the unprecedented threat. The UN had voted to reject the surrender ultimatum, but everyone knew it was largely symbolic. Earth's combined military forces were nothing compared to the Zephyrian fleet. Sarah was about to head back inside when Lieutenant Torres burst through the door. Commander, you need to see this right now. Sarah followed Torres to the command center, where the main display showed long-range sensor readings from the edge of the solar system. At first, she didn't understand what she was looking at. The readings seemed to show empty space, but there were gravitational anomalies that suggested something massive was out there. What am I looking at, Torres? Ma'am, we're detecting multiple contacts approaching from deep space. They're moving fast, really fast. But here's the strange part. They're not reflecting any electromagnetic radiation. They're like holes in space. Dr. Rivera looked up from his workstation, his face pale with excitement. Commander, the energy readings from the archaeological sites just spiked dramatically. Whatever's coming, the ancient sites are responding to it. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. How long until the contacts reach Earth? Torres checked his calculations. At their current velocity, approximately 18 hours, they'll arrive just as the Zephyrian ultimatum expires. Sarah stared at the sensor display, trying to process what this meant. Humanity was caught between two unknown forces, with less than 2 days to figure out which one might be their salvation and which might be their doom. The ancient sites scattered across Earth were awakening after millennia of silence, suggesting that humanity's history might hold secrets that could change everything. As night fell over Geneva, Sarah made a silent promise to herself and to the 7 billion people counting on her. Whatever was coming from the depths of space, whatever secrets lay buried in humanity's past, she would find a way to protect her species. The Zephyrian Empire might have superior technology and overwhelming numbers, but they had underestimated one crucial factor: human determination. The countdown continued, ticking away the hours until Earth's fate would be decided. But for the first time since the alien ships had appeared, Sarah felt a spark of hope. Something was coming to Earth's aid, something that had been waiting in the darkness for thousands of years. The ancient sites pulsed with increasing energy, sending signals into the void, calling to something that had once protected humanity and might do so again. The question was whether help would arrive in time, and whether humanity would survive long enough to learn the truth about their place in the galaxy. Above them, the Zephyrian ships maintained their ominous vigil, unaware that the primitive world they had come to conquer held secrets that would soon challenge everything they thought they knew about power in the universe. The Black Fleet's revelation. Commander Sarah Chen had not slept in over 30 hours, but adrenaline kept her alert as she monitored the approaching contacts from deep space. The mysterious objects were now close enough for detailed scans, and what the sensors revealed defied all explanation. The ships were massive, easily dwarfing even the largest Zephyrian vessels, but they seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them appear as living shadows against the star field. "Commander, we're getting some kind of transmission," Lieutenant Torres announced, his voice tight with excitement and fear. "It's coming from the lead contact, but the signal is unlike anything in our databases." Sarah moved to the communication station, her heart pounding. "Put it through." The voice that emerged from the speakers was deep and resonant, carrying harmonics that seemed to speak directly to something deep within human consciousness. When it spoke, Sarah felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if she were hearing an echo of a half-remembered dream. "Children of Terra, we have returned. The long sleep is over. The guardians of your bloodline have awakened." Dr. Rivera looked up from his workstation, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander, the energy readings from the archaeological sites just went off the charts. Whatever those ships are, they're directly connected to the ancient network." Before Sarah could respond, the main display flickered and showed an image that took her breath away. The figure that appeared was tall and graceful, wearing robes that seemed to be woven from starlight itself. Its features were clearly humanoid, but refined beyond human norms, with eyes that held the wisdom of millennia. "I am Keeper Jandar of the Eternal Vigil," the being said, its voice carrying warmth that the Zephyrian admirals had lacked entirely. "We are the architects, the builders of the ancient network that has protected your world for 10,000 years." Sarah found her voice. "Protected us from what?" "From those who would claim what they did not create, harvest what they did not plant. The Zephyrian Empire has conquered 17 worlds in this sector, enslaving populations and stripping planets of their resources. But Earth is under our protection, and we have returned to honor that covenant." Admiral Vextar's image suddenly appeared on the screen alongside the architect, his silver eyes blazing with fury. "Architect scum, this world is beyond your jurisdiction. The old treaties are dead, and your kind are extinct." Keeper Jandar's expression remained calm, but Sarah could sense the power behind that composure. "The treaties endure as long as the protected bloodlines survive. And they have not merely survived, Admiral. They have thrived beyond our greatest hopes." "What bloodlines?" Sarah interjected. "What are you talking about?" The Keeper turned to address her directly, and Sarah felt as if those ancient eyes could see straight through to her soul. "Long ago, when your species was young, and the galaxy was torn by war, a group of architect explorers found themselves stranded on your world. Rather than simply repair their ships and leave, they chose to remain and guide your ancestors towards something greater. Dr. Rivera stepped forward, his scientific mind racing. You're talking about intervention in human evolution. The missing links in our archaeological record. The sudden leaps in human development. Your ancestors were already remarkable, Jandar continued, but they carried within them the potential for something extraordinary. The architects who remained on Earth did not create that potential, but they helped nurture it. Over thousands of years, they established the network of monitoring stations you call ancient monuments. And they waited. Waited for what? Sarah asked. For the day when humanity would need protection, and for the day when they would be ready to take their place among the stars as our equals. Captain Jake Thompson, who had been listening in stunned silence, suddenly spoke up. The ships in orbit, they're scanning our ancient sites. They must have detected the network activation. Admiral Vextar's image flickered with rage. Architect lies and manipulation. These primitives are nothing more than another species to be integrated into the Empire. Stand aside, or face the consequences. Keeper Jandar raised his hand, and Sarah saw something that made her breath catch. The gesture was unmistakably human, but performed with a grace and authority that spoke of eons of experience. The time for words has passed, Admiral. You will withdraw your forces from this system immediately. Never. Vextar snarled. The Zephyrian Empire bows to no one. We will take this world by force if necessary. The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in tense silence. Sarah could see the Zephyrian ships beginning to move on the tactical display, descending toward Earth's major cities. But as they moved, something extraordinary happened. The ancient sites around the world erupted with brilliant light, and from each location, beams of pure energy shot skyward. The beams connected in the upper atmosphere, forming a glowing network that surrounded the entire planet. When the Zephyrian weapons fired, their energy discharges struck the protective barrier and simply vanished, absorbed and neutralized completely. My God, whispered Dr. Rivera. The network isn't just monitoring equipment. It's a planetary defense system. Captain Thompson was studying the tactical display with growing excitement. Commander, look at this. The dark ships are moving into formation. They're positioning themselves between Earth and the Zephyrian fleet. Sarah watched in amazement as the architect vessels emerged from the shadows of space, their dark hulls beginning to glow with an inner light that revealed their true size and majesty. They were not just ships, she realized, but mobile cities, each one a testament to technology so advanced it seemed like magic. The battle that followed was unlike anything in human imagination. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered worlds through overwhelming technological superiority, but the architects wielded forces that seemed to bend reality itself. When the Zephyrian ships fired their devastating weapons, the architect vessels simply absorbed the energy and redirected it back at their attackers with twice the force. But the Zephyrians were not easily defeated. Admiral Vextar had not conquered 17 worlds by giving up at the first sign of resistance. The purple-hulled ships regrouped and began using tactics that had served them well in previous campaigns, attempting to overwhelm the architect defenses through sheer numbers. Sarah watched the battle unfold on the main display, feeling helpless despite the protection surrounding Earth. These ancient guardians were fighting for humanity's survival, but she wanted to do more than just watch. Jake, she called to Captain Thompson. How many fighters do we have ready? Jake looked at her with understanding dawning in his eyes. 47 operational craft. But, Commander, our weapons can't penetrate Zephyrian shields. Maybe not, Sarah said, but we can't just stand by while others fight for our survival. Launch all available fighters. Even if we can't damage their ships, we can distract them, create confusion in their formations. Dr. Rivera looked up from his console with sudden excitement. Commander, I'm reading something incredible. The protective network isn't just defensive. It's enhancing our technology. The fighters are showing power readings I've never seen before. Sarah felt a surge of hope as she watched Earth's small fighter fleet launch from bases around the world. The craft looked tiny against the massive alien vessels, but as they approached the battle zone, something remarkable happened. The fighters began to glow with the same energy that surrounded the planet, their weapons and systems supercharged by the ancient network. Captain Thompson's voice crackled through the radio from his fighter. "This is incredible, Commander. My weapons are showing power levels at 300% normal capacity. It's like the whole ship is plugged into some cosmic battery." The human fighters tore into the Zephyrian formations with a ferocity that caught the invaders off guard. Enhanced by architect technology, their weapons could now penetrate enemy shields, and their enhanced maneuverability made them nearly impossible to target. Admiral Vextar's fleet found itself caught between the advanced architect vessels and the unexpectedly effective human fighters. For the first time in his career, Vextar was losing a battle, and losing badly. Keeper Jandar's voice filled the command center once again. "Humanity has proven itself worthy. Your courage in the face of impossible odds, your willingness to fight for your world, even when you believed you had no chance of victory. These are the qualities we hope to see." Sarah watched as the remaining Zephyrian ships began to retreat, their formations broken and their confidence shattered. Admiral Vextar's flagship was the last to withdraw, and as it turned to flee, Sarah could almost feel the alien commander's fury and disbelief. "This is not over, architects," Vextar's voice carried across the communication channels. "The Empire will return with greater force. This world will be ours." "Let them come," Jandar replied calmly. "Earth is no longer defenseless. The children of Terra have awakened to their heritage." As the Zephyrian fleet disappeared into hyperspace, Sarah felt a mixture of relief and wonder. Humanity had survived its first test as a spacefaring species, but she realized this was just the beginning. Keeper Jandar's image appeared on the main screen once more, and this time he was smiling. "Commander Chen, your species has exceeded all expectations. The courage you have shown today, the unity you have displayed in the face of extinction, these are the qualities that will serve you well in the challenges ahead. What happens now?" Sarah asked. "Now, humanity begins its true journey among the stars. The network that protected your world will continue to do so, but it will also serve as a gateway to the wider galaxy. Your people will learn, grow, and eventually take their place among the architects as equals." Dr. Rivera stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his awe. "The ancient sites, the artifacts we've discovered over the centuries, they were all part of this preparation, weren't they?" Jandar nodded. "Every great leap in human development, every moment of inspiration that pushed your species forward, was guided by the network. But the potential was always yours. We simply helped you recognize it." As the architect fleet began to withdraw to the edges of the solar system, Keeper Jandar delivered his final message. "We will remain nearby, watching and ready to assist if needed. But the future of humanity is now in your hands. Use the knowledge wisely, explore the stars with wonder, and remember that you are never truly alone in the universe." Sarah stood on the observation deck as the sun set over Geneva, but this time the sky held no menacing shadows. Instead, she could see the faint glimmers of the architect ships keeping their vigil at the edge of space, guardian angels watching over humanity's first steps into a larger universe. The ancient network continued to pulse with gentle energy, no longer a defense system, but a beacon of hope, calling out to the stars and announcing that Earth's children were ready to join the galactic community. Humanity had passed its first test, but Sarah knew that greater challenges and greater wonders lay ahead. The Zephyrian Empire would not forget this defeat, and other threats would emerge from the vast darkness between stars. But humanity would face them not as a primitive species cowering in fear, but as the inheritors of an ancient legacy, protected by guardians who had waited 10,000 years for this moment. As night fell over Earth, 7 billion human beings looked up at the stars with new eyes, knowing that they were part of something far greater than they had ever imagined. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore them all.